The first time I saw the gate, I laughed. Not because it was funny, but because it seemed impossible, like a relic from a story too old to remember. My boots crunched against the cracked obsidian pathway, the desert wind howling like a chorus of lost souls. The gate towered above me, black and smooth, carved with runes that pulsed faintly in a rhythm my mind refused to decipher. "It's just decoration," I muttered, nudging it with my hand. I didn't know that even a joke could awaken something older than humanity itself. For a moment, nothing happened. The sun hung low, casting long shadows that twisted into shapes almost alive. Then the ground trembled. A whisper rose from the gate,
The energy
not
signature
in
is
words,
destabilizing.
but in a
What are the
vibration that
readings?
slithered into my chest. The runes flared, and the eyes opened. I stumbled back, heart hammering, my laughter dying on my lips. They weren't eyes like ours. They were deep, liquid voids, like staring into a starless galaxy. And yet, I could feel them looking straight through me. I should have run. Every instinct screamed at me to flee. But curiosity, stupid, human curiosity, kept me rooted in place. And that was when I first heard it, the low, resonant hum that seemed to speak a language older than Earth itself. "You awakened me," it said, though no lips moved. My throat went dry. Yeah. Sorry. I managed, though my voice sounded like a child's in a storm. The Sentinel regarded me. Slowly. Deliberately. Its massive frame rose from the shadows of the gate, an intricate lattice of metal, crystal, and something organic, something that pulsed with life. The desert around me seemed to fall away, the wind itself caught in silent awe. But that was only the beginning. I never should have touched the gate. But I did. And now the consequences were unfurling like a nightmare in slow motion. The town behind me was abandoned, or at least, it looked abandoned. Crumbling concrete, half-buried vehicles, signs of life that had fled centuries ago. The Sentinel's presence made every air molecule tremble, and for the first time, I felt the weight of history pressing down on me. Whatever this creature was, it had waited a long time for someone like me. "Why are you here?" I asked, though the question felt absurd. How could I possibly understand an entity that existed long before human thought? It spoke again, though the sound vibrated through my skull rather than my ears. "The gate chooses. Only the foolish touch it without purpose. And yet, you are interesting." I swallowed. Interesting? Great. I'm glad to be of service. But I wasn't joking anymore. Fear was a physical thing now, heavy in my chest. And the Sentinel? It was studying me, not with malice but with something deeper, something like calculation. Then it moved. A single arm extended, impossibly long, each joint bending in ways that should have been wrong. The desert cracked where it touched, and sand cascaded in slow motion. My mind tried to run scenarios, fight, flee, bargain, but every option ended in a dead end. And yet, curiosity. That curse of humanity. I learned its name later, though not in words. I called it the Sentinel because it fit. A guardian, a watcher, an ancient being whose purpose was entwined with this sealed gate. And the gate. It was not merely a door, but a threshold. Something on the other side had waited for millennia. Something that had been forgotten by history and feared in myth. "Why me?" I whispered that night, lying on the cold metal floor beneath its looming shadow. My voice echoed in the vast emptiness. The Sentinel did not answer. Instead, the runes around the gate pulsed faster, brightening like lightning trapped in glass. I felt a pull, a tug on my soul, drawing me closer to the unknown. I wanted to resist. I wanted to run. But the pull was irresistible. And then came the dreams. The dreams weren't dreams. Not exactly. They were memories. Not mine, at least not entirely. I saw stars being born, civilizations rising and falling, entire planets consumed by forces beyond comprehension. I saw the gate opening once before, long ago, when the Sentinel had first awoken a foolish wanderer. That wanderer had not survived. I awoke with a scream. My chest was raw, my hands shaking. The Sentinel hovered silently, its eyes, alive, watching me with something close to patience. "You have potential," it said finally. "Do you understand what lies beyond?" I shook my head. "No. And I'm pretty sure I don't want to." It hummed, a low throbbing vibration that resonated through the ground. "Curiosity is dangerous. But so is fear. And then it did something I did not expect. It tilted its head, as though studying me like a puzzle it couldn't quite solve. And in that moment, I realized, it wasn't waiting for me to act. It was waiting for me to choose. The next day, or maybe it was the next century, time had started to bend near the gate. I discovered others had come. Shadows moved in the periphery. Scavengers, opportunists, explorers, and a few brave, or foolish, souls seeking the same truth. But they didn't last long. The gate didn't just test curiosity. It tested worthiness. One touch, one glance, and it determined if you were fit to know. Most weren't. I watched as a man pressed his hand to the runes. He screamed, but not in pain. His mind, fractured. The Sentinel didn't strike him down. It didn't need to. Some truths were too heavy for the unprepared. The man became a husk, wandering aimlessly until the desert swallowed him whole. And me? I was learning, slowly, painfully, to understand the weight of the gate. But that was only the beginning. Weeks, or was it decades, passed. I became its companion of sorts, though I hated the word. It was not human, and I was not its equal. Yet, something unspoken tied us together. It allowed me to ask questions, to probe the edges of understanding. "You fear," it observed one evening, when the twin moons hung low over the jagged horizon. "Yes," I admitted. "I'm not used to standing before a being that can erase me with thought alone." It hummed. "Fear is survival. Courage is choice. And choice is rare." I didn't know if it was praise or warning. Then, a revelation struck. The gate was not simply a relic. It was a safeguard. Something beyond it had been sealed for reasons that defied morality, logic, and human comprehension. And I, by accident, had awakened the Sentinel who had been sworn to guard it until someone worthy arrived. And suddenly, worthiness felt terrifyingly subjective. By the midpoint of our acquaintance, I realized the Sentinel was teaching me. Not in words but in experience. Each night brought visions, each day brought challenges. Tests of courage, compassion, intellect, and empathy. I failed often, sometimes miserably. And every failure was recorded in the runes, every success noted in the pulsing light. One day, I touched the gate again, deliberately this time. It flared, hot and alive under my fingers. And then I saw it, beyond the black threshold, a world impossible to imagine. Cities floating in oceans of light, beings composed entirely of energy, civilizations spanning galaxies in thought and motion. My breath caught. "It's beautiful." The Sentinel's eyes pulsed. "Dangerous as well." I understood then that beauty and danger were intertwined. That curiosity without caution could be fatal. And that knowledge had a cost. Weeks became months, months became years. I aged, or at least I thought I did. Time was fluid near the gate. My hair grayed, my bones ached, but my mind expanded. I began to see patterns in the chaos, understand the unthinkable. I began to hear the whispers of the universe, the silent music of creation, the subtle logic that bound life across planets, stars, and dimensions. And yet, the gate remained closed. Until the day it spoke plainly. "Are you ready?" I hesitated. Every fiber of my being screamed that I was not. But I was. I had no choice but to step forward. The moment my hand touched the threshold, the Sentinel shifted. Its eyes flared, brighter than suns, and the gate opened like a wound in reality. Light poured forth and I saw, truly saw, the infinite. It was overwhelming, painful, beautiful beyond comprehension. And then the Sentinel's voice, not in sound, but in resonance. "You have chosen wisely. You are ready to bear the truth." I crossed the threshold. Inside, I was neither alive nor dead. I was everything and nothing. I saw time as a spiral, history as a web, consciousness as a river flowing between stars. And in that vision, I saw the Sentinel as it truly was. Not merely a guardian but a guide. It had waited eons not for a hero, but for a human capable of understanding, capable of choice, capable of bearing wonder without breaking. I wanted to fall to my knees, to weep, to scream, to laugh. I did all of it at once. And the universe smiled. When I returned, if returning is the right word, the desert was silent again. The gate stood closed, as though nothing had happened. The Sentinel had vanished, or perhaps it was always there, in ways I could not perceive. I walked back to the town, my body aged, my mind expanded. And I knew a truth no one else could ever comprehend. The universe was alive, and curiosity, stupid, human curiosity, was its key. I touched the gate as a joke. I awakened the impossible. And the Sentinel had opened its eyes to me. I laughed, quietly, because I understood at last. Some doors are not meant to be opened. Some doors are meant to choose. And some jokes can change the course of eternity. The desert wind whispered my name. And I realized I would never be the same again.